To be honest, at some point in this episode, I was really sold on the idea that Kate was behind everything because it just kind of felt like it was playing it out as if Kate wanted attention upon herself. She wanted to create a situation that would get her some sort of merit with the Star Bearers if she can solve the issue. So create an issue, create a disaster, and then when everybody's flustered and can't figure it out, you reveal the secret, thus allowing you to gain favor with the group, which technically, now that I think about it, is a little more difficult to do than possible when you create multiple suspects that nobody knows about and then go, well, how do you reveal, how do you solve the problem unless you pin it on somebody else? So yeah, for a minute there I had this thought like, man, Kate's really, it looks like she's really pushing heavy on these guys. They don't know what they're doing. And at the same time, trying to create a situation that would get her some sort of attention. And then as it started going on and she's trying to actually, once you start getting the inner dialogue, trying to figure things out, it's like, nah. Unless they're going to turn into something where, yes, I'm trying to figure out this stuff, but yes, I did this. Like that could be a thing still, but I was really hoping for like some big twist. Like Kate suddenly goes, they're falling right in my hands. I wanted to create this situation. I wanted them to rely on me. That way I can fix the situation and step forward. But no, great episode overall. I feel like this whole episode, it was like Kate showing off. Like, we had so many points in this episode where Kate's just being, like, super, like, OP looking. And I love it. Every time she gets really angry and you get all those little crazy tentacles going everywhere, like the suits flying everywhere and everybody's panicking. It was really great. And technically, they revealed in this episode that Kate essentially is in the same situation as Barbara. Like, Kate is essentially the same kind of caliber as Barbara. Barbara, like they mentioned before, that Barbara, because her soot, how much soot she has, how much she can produce, she gets sort of favoritism. Like they kind of like her to be around because even though she's like super brash, even though she causes problems, she gets favoritism because of how much soot she produces. And based on this interaction at this meeting and basically Kate going crazy and yelling at them, they realized that because of all of that soot power she had, she created these soot stalactites. And that was enough for them to go, oh, she has a high concentration, so we have to be careful about how we deal with her. Insinuating that if they don't really find something definitive to use against Kate, she's going to get away with it. Because, again, she's an asset to the house. Because she produces so much soot, they might overlook things. And so they have to deal with her very carefully. Yes, technically another side of that is that she's technically powerful. Like, she does have strength. But I think that's more in the idea that she's going to be favored by grandfather. Like, the idea is that, okay, if they figure out something to pin on Kate and they go before grandfather and they go all this stuff, but then all of a sudden they realize, oh, but she does have a high capacity. So I'm going to take her word over yours. I'm going to keep her around. I'm going to pardon her or whatever to allow her to be here still. But yes, opening up the episode, they did discover the issue with the pipes. Somebody keeps leaving the door open. The crushing of the soots is not, or the scorches is not working properly. They're getting out. And their whole decision at this point is to basically just pin everything on, on certain people. Like, make it to where everybody believes that the situation is handled and then go from there. So they do end up pinning all this stuff on the bells. The bells end up, oh my gosh, this is so terrible. Like, I don't like the bells. But at the same time, it goes back to my argument I made in the previous episode where sometimes when I remind myself that these living dolls are people, like they're actual humans, it's sort of terrifying what they go through. So when we do get this brief scene later on where it shows the bells and Mirabelle inside of the actual chambers, the vents, and they said they only been there for 10 minutes and they already have soot sickness and they're having to drag them out, flush water in them, make them puke a bunch. It was just, it's kind of terrifying to think what these Shadow House family members are putting human beings into, what they're putting them through. As much as we have almost a frilly feel of the show, there's little comedic beats in there. It's always got this undertone of kind of how nasty this building is. Everything that's happening in here is kind of terrifying. But yeah, they're also hoping that Rosemary, when she wakes up, they're kind of pinning things on Rosemary as well, but they're going to wait until she wakes up to question her and figure out what's going on with her. Barbara, obviously at this point, kind of is already drawing the same conclusions that we're drawing, that somebody is trying to not cause a problem with the house itself. It seems like it's directly pointed at the Starbearers. That they don't necessarily think it's Edward, because it seems like this is an issue that's going to affect the Starbearers specifically. So they don't want to report to Edward because they don't trust him still, but at the same time, his statements on watching Kate is sort of starting to go into Barbara's mind, which does kind of lead into like a really good scene with the Starbearers, where you do have them generally questioning Kate. Like, what is your involvement here? What are you doing? Are you involved with the situation? And I love the scene because Kate just loses it. Like, she just absolutely loses it. Just like, do you know what people think of you guys? That you're not as good as Christopher, which takes him off. And then she stands up and this crazy aura starts appearing. And she's like, you guys, you're not finding a resolve for the issue. You're just listening to Edward. I know Edward doesn't like me. He doesn't like the results of the debut. And so ever since then, he's been after me. And you guys are just listening to him. Instead, I will resolve this issue. And this is where I was kind of starting to think, wait, maybe she's caused the issue. No, she's taken upon herself that she will solve the issue, which kind of plays again into what I'm thinking Kate wants of Barbara, that she will figure it out. And this will get her position as a Starbearer. So it kind of turns this entire season into, yes, about Christopher. It's about Barbara. It's about the Starbearers. But it's also going to be, I think, an arc where this is going to be Kate rising up to be a Starbearer. And it's all kind of centered around figuring out what's happening right now. Who broke the coffee? Who's the cloaked figure? Who's sabotaging the pipes, basically? It was funny because it was like super cool seeing Kate walk forward and she got this aura going on and everybody's freaking out. Even Benjamin's kind of taken aback. But everybody's kind of in awe of the power that she has. And the entire time she's walking forward all angrily. We're giving Emilico. Like, what is Emilico? Like, I had to watch it like 3 times. So, like, what is Emilico doing? She's all trying to mimic Kate walking forward angry. It was dorky. You can't make Emilico look angry. But yeah, once she leaves, that's when everybody notices the stalagmites coming down from the roof, obviously realizing that she has a lot of soot power, which, again, they're going to have to tread very carefully on how they handle her, because of the fact that she will see favoritism. But it's interesting because one last statement in the scene just before it cuts away is Barbara stating, is Kate a traitor or is she cut off? And I'm like, what else? I mean, yeah, it could be, is she a traitor or is she an ally? I guess there's really not many things it could be, honestly. But it's just kind of one of those things of, is she somebody that I can trust? Is she like Christopher? I'm wondering if it's going to be something like that. That she does have the good nature of the people there in her mind, but Barbara's technically still weary of what she's doing. Or is she an asset? But again, this is where all my theories on Kate went away, because Kate sits there and basically tries to figure out who's doing everything, trying to run through the list of people, which we did in last episode, getting through all the people that can control people, going through John, Barbara, all these different people. I think the only one that she really kind of stuck with was Barbara, hinting at the idea because she has such a high volume of soot, she could technically be somebody that's trying to sabotage in the background for her own benefit, which again does play into the idea that eventually we could have Kate and Barbara working together if Barbara secretly doesn't like the situation. Yes, she does speak loud, saying how it's all of her grandfather, the situation is terrible, somebody destroyed the coffee, which is a gift from grandfather, but there could be a side that's kind of mixed inside there, that she's always been miserable. And she was a little bit happy when Christopher was around, but maybe she doesn't like the fact that Christopher was taken away. Maybe she wants to destroy the system so she can be with Christopher again. Again, that does play into the idea of what Barbara was saying. Is she a traitor or is she somebody I can work with? Yeah, so when we get into the cleansing area, seeing everybody getting inappropriately looking injected with water so they can puke a bunch. It's always unsettling when you see that kind of stuff. It's just not really, it sucks. What does come from this whole situation is they kind of note that Mia is still affected by the coffee. Emilico does reveal that Mia gave her a map of the area. They decide at this point they want to map out the children's wing, kind of try to get an idea of what areas could have been hidden from everybody, so that would be a position in which somebody controlling the bells would kind of hide at. And they're eventually joined by John, and with John they go around and map the entire area out, including this kind of upper floor area that's the same floor as the Starbearers wing, or the floor that Starbearers meeting room is in. And yes, eventually finding some random building that they're trying to get inside that's unkept, and coming to find out after pulling the entire front of the building off that is apparently some place that the researchers are at. Which it kind of ends on some doofy note where Oliver tells Ollie to go after them, and it zooms in on Emilico, so I'm assuming it's just Oliver really likes Emilico. Like, ever since the whole situation with this big phantom and Emilico jumping out there and helping them with the vacuum, Oliver and Ollie has been obsessed with Emilico, so I don't think that's like a bad thing. Like, I don't think they're angry that they broke. They're probably mad they broke the front of the wall, but I don't think Oliver cares. Oliver just wants Emilico. He even said it when they were at the Starbearer meeting. He's like, I have high hopes for you. Oliver thinks highly of you, something like that. Anyways, we'll see where it goes from here. I have zero clue why they're bringing the. I don't know why we're now going into the researchers and what that's going to be about. Maybe they know something about Emilico that makes her special. I don't know. I'm really uncertain of what we can end up finding out from the researchers unless they have information on what kind of soot was gathered with the phantoms. Maybe it's a different type of soot. Maybe they'll give some insight on the soot sickness, or maybe a little more insight on the coffee. Maybe that's another possibility as well. There are some people that are in the upstairs area that could be resting that are part of the research group, or it could be people that have had soot sickness that they're researching them. Most of the soot sickness people are at the recovery place, so I don't think that's the case. But anyways, we'll see. That's my thoughts on episode 4 of Shadow House 2nd season. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. If I missed anything, let me know. Again, no spoilers for the manga. Additionally, if you have not already, make sure that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.